honestly would be happy just to see him go for an aggressive jungle pick and just try and make things happen, see how it goes. If you come out ahead in the early game, just take it step by step there. Very quickly get into the draft. Carly, Rise, Jace banned away. This is making me think maybe Gwen could be quite high priority with the Jace already taken off the cards. On the other side, LGD hammering those 80 carry bans.
Yeah, they are. They're going up against Photic, who we haven't mentioned here in this opening segment, but Photic's been a great team fighter for V5. I think one of the members I had the lowest expectations of, and he's gone well and truly above it. As for V5, they open up with the B1 Renekton now. Cheers to LS out there. That's all I got to say, man. You know, we're paying respect. One way or another, or at least trying to get him a little bit mad. But at the very least in LPL, this often gets banned away, so a safe blindside when Gwen's not available. LGD don't know what to respond with.
Yeah, and it gives a lot of agency to Casa, potentially. We see Renekton often paired up with things like Diana with Nidalee that you can use to have that insane pressure. But even just having that gang setup may potentially cause issues for Fairness in the top lane. Jinx, Lee Sin come out very quickly. And then actually the Tahm Kench, this may be the center, yeah. Very quickly locking that in. Obviously, they don't know the support matchup, but opting away from the Aphelios that we typically see traded off with the Jinx. Now, for LGD, I think if you want to take a support here, it makes a lot of sense, but you could also look towards the top lane, right? Wanting to make something that can survive against the Renekton. But really, you have so many options here because mid could also be a potential if you want to lock something in, ban away counters. It looks like they'll take the safest option, right? Just match the Tahm Kench by picking up the Thresh. And, you know, this used to be like a counter matchup because every time you'd land a death sentence, you pull them out. But not so much the case anymore. And actually go in the Karma, so a lot more trading power, right? The melee Tahm Kench will struggle with the harass coming out for this. A lot of scaling for the side of LGD. And now I expect them to be looking at jungle bans. Xin Zhao, a potential to take off the cards. Could also look at things like the Diana, like the Nidalee, if the concerned cost would bring those out.
So let me ask you, you're treating that Karma like a flex right now, or assuming it's going to go to Jinji on the bottom lane? Because I think that changes perspective of draft quite a lot when, you know, we have seen in other regions, Karma's been flexed to some of the solo lanes, but here in the LPL, it's been mainly sticking bot.
Yeah, I expect a support. We really haven't seen it flex much. You know, it's like a small possibility, but probably will just be going on the bot lane, picking it for that solid matchup. And LGD will just literally ban the Diana Nidalee away from Casa, not wanting to have these picks, these AP junglers that sync very well with the Renekton setup. On the other side, V5 banning away top laners that Fairness might be able to utilize. I wouldn't be against a mid ban, which they do. They go for LeBlanc, a mid ban, because you know LGD have first choice here. If there's something like the LeBlanc or something that they want to prioritize, they could pick that up. Corki even is an option. Not the best synergy with the Lee Sin, but obviously Corki Jinx is a very powerful long-range scaling duo.
You and
but honestly, they could just take top here because they already know Renekton on the other side.
You and I just opened the segment with, you know, meta picks, what's strong, right? And simplifying 12.2 because we're going to be on it for another week and a half. And Corki has been the most picked mid laner for a big reason. Still pre-nerf, get the package timers around Dragon. No team, despite composition, of course. Orcs, nice little point there. Have been willing to pick it up, so shying away from it for the time being. We get the Orianna for Jay, but Sejuani on the other side. I mean, V5 are just pulling out a very different left-wing draft that makes me think, Orcs, I mean, we've got a lot of frontline here. Do you just need solid AP damage? And that pick is still open.
Yeah, absolutely needs some AP. Sejuani, a bit of an interesting one coming out from Casa. Obviously, very easy to stack up the stun to follow up on Rich. So, great lockdown, a really bulky front line, but definitely not something we've really seen at all in the LPL. So, it'll be interesting to see how that one pans out. Also, can do okay in Lee Sin. Not really going to match him too well in skirmishes, but can interrupt his Sonic Wave, which is always big. And now LGD trying to decide, and they're going to go for the Mordekaiser. So, this one's pretty cool because into like Renekton plus whatever jungler, obviously you want to be diving, right? But after level 6, diving Mordekaiser becomes very difficult because obviously he just ults one target, turns it into a 1v1 with the turret on his side. And especially when it is this Sejuani, there is not that much damage, right? It's not an Nidalee, it's not a Diana. They don't have the same amount of burst. So I feel like Fairness can be pretty comfortable in this top side. And I think LGD, you know, they do lack engage a little bit, but they have this backline strength. They have decent scaling on the bot side, and Shadow has a pick that he can sort of set things rolling. But V5, you know, they have lanes to play through, long range coming in the late stage of the game, and a very, very beefy front line.
Yeah, the Sejuani, Tahm Kench coming through, and even with Renekton as the bruiser as well. Interesting start to game number 1. We talked about V5 versus LGD being like, okay, needs to be a certain win for V5. Show us that they are a playoff team, that they can run with the big guys in the LPL. 6-1 this team right now. They're in the top 4. just above RNG, BLG even under them. And if V5 pull out this win, they'll be over EDG for the time being. But more importantly as well, they'll be just under Weibo Gaming, so top 3 secured for the start of week number 6. A very big piece of momentum that needs to happen, but the LGD down in the dumps, 1 and 6. If they don't start getting wins on the board, they're going to fall rightly so into the bottom 3 and hold it for the rest of the split. They've got TT, IG coming up next if they could pull something off against V5. Oh lordy, LGD could make a run for it, but as Orcs was saying, there's one person we need to talk about with LGD to make that happen. Shadow is a big member, and a lot of LGD successes relied on this man in the past. We'll see if he can get it done against Casa as we enter Summoner's Rift once again. V5 versus LGD. We start you off in week 6 in the LPL. Welcome back, by the way. Orcs, you're going to be on here for about 7 days straight, so
feels like it.
You know, you've joined back with spirit, which is nice to see.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, had my little time off when I was feeling ill, and it was just painful watching, not being able to join in. So I'm glad to be back for a few days in a row. It's been fun. Now, we can talk about what LGD need, right? I think early game super important on the Sin. The downside to the way the composition is panned out, they don't really have setup, right? We often see things like Lee Sin and LeBlanc, where the LeBlanc has the CC, the Lee Sin can easily land the Sonic Wave. There is no one who really has that easy, hard CC in the lanes to set her up. So this is going to be very much about Shadow finding good opportunities. And speaking of opportunities, it's a little bit cheesy, but it looks like they're just going to go for a ward here. I don't know if they'll go for a full invade. Their level 1 is strong, right? They got a Karma.
But it is a Tahm Kench, remember as well. Lee Sin goes in for the Sonic Wave, and Shadow one away from the acquired taste. But they'll start on the red buff, and you can see straight away Casa's response, Orcs, is going towards this top side. Now, they've got a ward on the red buff too, so maybe a bit of vertical jungling before the Mordekaiser gets 6.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like this is pretty good for LGD, right? The Sejuani isn't as threatening as something like a Nidalee on the top side. You go for a map split, and it basically means Eric and Jinzhao can just completely push. Really, V5 can't look for many all-ins because they know Shadow can be in the vicinity, so it means you can just continue to land this harass and make things a little bit painful. Remember, this is going to be the farming Tahm Kench, and I say farming Tahm Kench, but kind of hard to farm against 2 range champions, so going to have a really unfun time in that scenario.
Especially when you know that Lee Sin's on the bottom side of the map, Shadow is behind enemy lines, he's cleared out the whole red side jungle. Caster doing the same on his blue side, and again, we talked about vertical jungling be the most likely go-to, but Photic gonna peek out onto Shadow. Assault to take as well. Shadow in a bit of trouble, actually. It's only level 1 onto Photic, and as he gets low, he should be fine with another smite on another camp, but V5 now know where he is.
Yeah, we're really able to contest the wave, so instead look to just force Shadow away, and now they have a bit of a reprieve, right? They know Shadow's low, they know he has to back off into his own jungle to clear, and it does mean that very likely to see a dive come out here. Mid lane matchup, we do see Rookie actually struggling, and this is how the matchup should go, right? Orianna should have pressure into the Corki, should be able to lay down some damage, but gotta give credit to Jay because I have seen Rookie play this matchup and seem not to really have that hard of a time, right? In the league, even though it should be a tricky matchup for Corki, he just seems to be able to circumvent it, but for now, Jay is applying that pressure.
Yeah, he is. So a good start again. I said that Jay's laning has improved. Side note for the fans, as Cuts is up in the top side, it's been 548 days since Mordekaiser was played. It was been with Top Esports versus Suiting in 2020. That's how long it's been since we've seen a Mordekaiser in the LPL. A year and a half, folks. Quite a while to wait for this one. And in that top lane, we'll see how well it goes because, to mention again, Casa's still up there. It's a vertical jungling start here, and V5 look like they want to dive before he gets his ulti.
Yeah, how they do it. They need to stack up the passive, but Mord is tanky.
And it's quick, though, to get the permafrost coming through. They're right onto Phoenix. There's the root up again. But Casa has to flash away from the turret. Dies down to first blood. Rich doing the same. Phoenix follows. Double kill, and V5 blunder the hell out of that dive.
You can see Fairness laughing in the player cam. You know, there is not that much damage between the Renekton and the Sejuani. There's CC, sure, but when you're tower diving, you want to be able to kill the target. There's not a Diana, there's not a Nidalee. They were both banned from LGD. And Fairness, the critical thing is he survives long enough to get his shield up. So We see the replay. Their goal is to kill Fearness before he gets a chance to press any buttons, right? Gets the Q off early, gets the E before he gets stunned, and then stun into another stun. But look how low he is when he finally gets that shield. They don't have any damage left to finish him off. Gets that 1 kill, and with the double buffs, flashes after Rich for the second. So honestly, great start, and it's kind of the power of the Mordekaiser pick, right? Even before 6, not the easiest to dive, but I also think if you go in for this Renekton plus, you know, jungle combo where you want to dive top, Sejuani doesn't really stand out as a pick who's great at doing so.
True. You know, and it kind of shifts the momentum here as Casa. Yes, he was able to get the smite away from my understanding. The audience probably has a better view of that one, but at the very least, you know, Shadow starting to invade the jungle. Top side, he's huge with the blasting one now as well. Cleanse from PP Gods, a little up dive, and Eric has to get away. So both summoners down now for the LGD. Yeah, bottom lane. That's a big deal as Jin Zhao still setting up the engage. But Fodig's just going to run away. So Orcs, we've got early action, you know, in strange places.
Yeah, so I think the big thing there was we obviously talked about how it's a bit scary to be going all in for this V5 bot lane when Shadow could be on the bot side. They just saw Shadow on the top side. They had that information. They look for that all-in potential. And that's one of the things with like a Karma Jinx is that you have good harass, good wave control, but you are vulnerable to all-ins. Now, Shadow's shown up. They are looking for a fight here.
Yeah, but it's going to be a 3v3. Remember, Eric has no summoners. Ignite goes down from Jin Zhao. The slow down Photic. The Sonic Wave wants to connect, but it's onto Casa. Removes the half HP and is going to lose his ice armor in a minute. V5. Yeah, okay, they defend the dive. It's not too bad, but LGD get pressure.
Yeah, and now Photic pretty low. Obviously, just have a fair amount of sustain. PP God looks deceptively low, but that shield is going to give him so much regen. And obviously, with Doran Shield second wind, you are kind of just chilling in the lane. But still, a good move from Shadow to see the opportunity where they're potentially going to go for a gank. Manages to cover his lane, chunks him out, and that HP advantage is enough just to pick up the Fierce Dragon. And I think it's important that LGD are having a good early game because really, I know V5 have really strong scaling elements in the Corki and the center. But what I really think about is Sejuani, Renekton, and Tahm Kench will be absolute beefcakes in the mid game, right? When you're in the mid game, the Jinx just does not have the damage to cut through them. She's really going to be just subdued by the fact that there's just so much, like a brick wall of beef in front of her. And so I think that if LGD do fall behind, the mid game is where it could be really scary. Corki on 2 items, all those camps really tanky, but the fact they have a bit of an advantage already is the start we wanted.
Well, I was going to ask you, you know, what the mid game looks like if Fearness is such a beast in the side lane. I don't know how Mordekaisers are building this day, but we already have a Bramble Vest coming through. We've seen things like Natches in the past as situational builds. There is a chance that, you know, Fearness is unmatched, and for LGD, they can coast through the mid game that you're so worried about.
Yeah, I think Mordekaiser honestly can be so varied in build. He can build pretty much full tank. Like, I've seen people go Frostfire Gauntlet into Demonic Embrace, still do a ton of damage. I've seen people go like Riftmaker, more heavy AP. There's a lot of variation. Brylise is now super cheap and obviously a really strong item for him. So there's a lot of variation depending on what you want to do. Obviously, the Nash is still an option. I feel like him being bulky enough to go into the team fight, soak up some damage, and then he should just be able to duel anyone when he goes when he does pop that ultimate, as long as he's not too far behind and it has a decent itemization to deal with him. I think Rookie might cause some problems later on if he ends up fed, but for the most part, can just shut people out the fight. And that's the thing, is that this is a competition for V5. If the Renekton falls behind, you're so reliant on Photic and Rookie for that damage in those fights.
Remember, the Photic in the laning phase right now, it is the fasting center, but more importantly, that bottom lane isn't doing so red hot with the constant jungle attention. Now for LGD, once again, moving up towards this top side. Shadow starting the Herald before anyone from V5 gets there. Castle will be spot out in the ward, even with the Glacial Prison available. LGD don't care. They get the Herald. They've got Jay and Fearness by his side, and V5 just want to pick on the back end.
That was a cute one. This is completely irrelevant, but Shadow goes, wards over the wall, then picks up the Herald, and then ward off. One of the things that's always painful about playing Lee Sin in getting the Herald is that you now don't have your Trinket Ward available for use, so kind of hamper you down. But they do pick up the Herald. Good moves. We actually see the package was taken by V5 to contest the Herald. They were a bit late. Now that they're trying to lean that pressure towards
Eric can flash.
I think. Yeah,
but Eric, without summoning a Glacial Prison, he's just dead. Rookie takes him down. Jin Zhao burns his own. And for V5, the package comes in handy, while topside, the trading will continue with Fearness winning out, of course.
Yeah, and the single kill, not a huge deal, but it's the effect this has, right? Jungle camp's being stolen away, this blue buff is gone, minions being missed, crashed into the tower, and plays being taken as well. It's not just the individual kill, it's the consequences that are being applied as a result. So Nice turnaround from V5. They didn't manage to get the Herald, but they will still get a positive play on the bot side for themselves.
Yeah, plate almost taken down to 3 in the bottom side for V5. Gold netting about 700 in this early game at 9 minutes, despite the kills going in LGD's favor. But we'll see. Herald is still in the back pocket of LGD, and I want to see where Shadow puts that. Orcs, I feel like with Fearness so far ahead, top side looks like a vulnerable place where you can push ahead.
Yeah, definitely is. Definitely an easy option. And there's kind of like two schools of thoughts with Herald, right? You can throw it down mid because sometimes mid can be a hard tower to break, right? You get 2 plates, and then if you get the second Herald, that's enough to take down that mid tier 1, which has a big impact on like opening up the map so you can push. Particularly if you're against a Corki who has a lot of wave clear that has value. But alternatively, if you want to get like a whole turret at once, go into the side lane where you potentially have pressure, especially if the enemy team on the other side does have a fair bit of value. I wouldn't be against them trying to do this bot, right? Especially as Eric on this Jinx would get a lot of value out of this gold. But it looks like based on the position, they might just be going for the 2 plates mid, or it could just be he's waiting for a potential opportunity that doesn't arise.
Yeah, so clearing up towards the top side for now. Minute till Dragon though, and I think it could be lined up in conjunction with that next objective. 55 seconds, keep counting it down, because for LGD, they've already got the first one. Dragon stacking if they're worried about the mid-game orcs as well. Something worth mentioning is Jinjiao's going to get caught out here. A good knockup from BP God. Now that the Inspire's down, Photic wants to chase it up, but doesn't have his ultimate available just yet. V5's bottom lane getting a bit more back in the lane when earlier on we saw they were struggling a bit.
Yeah, and I think, speaking on your Dragon point there, it's actually really important for LGD to get this next Dragon because the package is currently synced with the Herald, right? We saw Rookie pick it up at 8 minutes. It's not going to be available for this Dragon. So this is pretty much the last Dragon you're going to be able to get without having to deal with the package. If you miss out on this one, every Dragon from now on, Rookie's going to have the package. It's going to hit that mid-game point where all these tanks on V5 are very hard to cut through. And you could see V5 very quickly threatening a soul. So I want to see LGD make a conscious effort to move towards this. Shadow is already on his way down, but has just run into Caster.
Yeah, and this might actually be good here for V5 because Rookie's on the way too. He's got a big one. And Shadow now at half HP. Caster not taking too much damage with the Bammies as Jay just walks into Rookie. He's only got the mana immune and he does that much damage. Folks, Corky's still a big pain. Yeah, there you go. There's the word.
Well, at least in the new patches, when we hit 12-4, they'll nerf this damage.
Oh, good. Is Gwen...
they didn't.
Oh, no, I haven't looked at 12.4 because we're stuck here. Do they nerf Gwen? Orcs, is Gwen nerfed?
No, she's immune. She's immune to nerfs, and she's immune in game.
I don't know how. Jinjiao getting dangerously low, but you said LGD was important for them to get this Dragon. I think V5 set up around this objective over the last minute we've watched them move into play has been very expertise, and they'll deny the Dragon from LGD stacking too. Yeah,
good pressure in the lanes. It is going to be a Cloud Soul, which, you know, has value. Not the most powerful in this situation. I feel like there's definitely others that could have potentially upped a bit more, but still, something that you'd want to be able to pick up. And now V5, this next Dragon could well be, you know, them syncing up the package, constantly having it. You could also see Rookie potentially wanting to sync it up with the Herald instead. We sometimes do see teams sync up with the second Herald, but either way, the fact that V5 were able to get that Dragon pretty valuable. Now we do finally see the Herald thrown down mid. They will take those 2 plates. It means that mid lane tower is a little bit of a precarious one. If they can follow up with the second Herald or even just a bit of pressure, taking that down would allow them to expand, control the map a fair bit. Do you see Caster fishing for something here?
Ulti. Oh, just behind Jay. Nice little side step forward, but waiting for the permafrost. The Shockwave sends him backwards to burn, though. Rookie's kick back, but that's not saving grace. Shadow kills his mid laner. It's a 1-for-1 with LGD on the chase for Caster. Sonic Wave with an Arctic Assault away. Shadow won't get retribution, but hey, that was a fun move to watch.
Yeah, I mean, the downside, your mid lane ends up dying. The upside, you do end up killing Rookie, so I think perhaps the trade-off potentially worth in that situation. Either way, Caster not quite connecting with that ultimate does make the difference. The bot lane, so much pressure coming out onto this tower already so low, and Eric getting chunked out. I
mean, the damage starting to ramp up from Photic, right? Again, we talked about good things in that lane, as maybe top lane needs to be talked about. Fearness is going to grab him in, and Rich has a Dominus, but he might have to use it shortly. Fearness is proxying the wave. This is a Hullbreaker Renekton, but he's going up against a fully stacked Riftmaker on Fearness, so top lane is just LGD's delight and continues to be as we move into this replay.
Yeah, so good moves from Jay in this situation. Doesn't actually flash the ult, but sidesteps it, and that just means it takes a bit too long to lock him down. So much burst coming onto him, and I think, you know, he might have been healthy enough to survive the burn from the red smite, but either way, the kick on Rookie makes this a guaranteed 1-for-1 trade, which I think is a fair one in that situation. Now, that's the thing, right? This is the Hull Breaker elected. You pick the Hull Breaker to be strong in the 1v1. Obviously, we've seen this item so much recently just because it's generally well statted, even if you're not in the 1v1. But the fact that you have that and you're still getting buffed by Fairness is a little bit rough. He has that Rift Maker, level 11. He's moving towards the contested Herald. And Rookie, he has picked up the package to contest this one. So we'll see if LGD are able to take this on.
But look, they got the whole army here. 5 members. Fairness from the left-hand side, the rest on the right. In the middle, Votix coming back up as Rookie runs away. Carter goes to the engage. On top of Jinjiao, who's caught out as PP God. Gets a perfect one. A shockwave only onto the jungler, but the rest of V5 are healthy enough. Fairness runs away, and he's the strongest dude. Right now, Rookie pivoting for rockets to land the back line. And big ones don't connect to take down the Mordekaiser as Rich spots out Shadow in the jungle, but he's got a Sonic Wave to get out. Slice and dice, I believe, was not used. No, it's actually not on cooldown. So for V5, winning the fight, but losing their jungler, Herald will stay up for now.
Yeah, and honestly, I think LG can be happy with that, right? Because the package is now unavailable. The fact that Carter died means that Herald, it will actually be started up, and actually Shadow backing away. Nope, he's cancelled his recall. He's going to come over. They're going to try and contest this. I think it's the right call. The package being down, you should feel more comfortable to do this. You do have your Smite available here.
That's true. Smite advantage is going to be big. Sonic Wave connects on the Herald as well. They're going to let him get the eye. Smite comes down early, though, from Shadow. Still gets it down with the Tempest Cripple as Fairness rejoins the play. They're going to deny it, though. And as LGD run away, they may have stolen it, but no eye for you.
Yeah, I mean, it does deny it away from V5, but I think Shadow had an opportunity to potentially get that before he got away. Obviously, the mobility that he's in means he could have just moved over towards the edge of the pit and then ward hopped over or hopped to an ally. But either way, V5 do deny the Herald, but it will go to neither side. Gold is dead even, a dragon at peace. And we do have another spawning up in a minute. Now, Rookie did use his package then again, so this is going to be another dragon where it isn't synced. First, the replay. Again, this karma just not for this world, instantly deleted. But then we get this kick into Shockwave where Carter is eviscerated. I think the big thing for Fairness, right? We talked about how strong he was. He gets CC locked and doesn't even get to press his ultimate, right? Yep. Great in the 1v1, but when you have 4 people wailing on you, not a fun time.
No, and as we come back, I love that you mentioned the gold is still dead even at 17 minutes in the game as well. So it's a good opportunity for me to start talking about some of these items coming through. Our first mythics across the board on 4 out of the 5 carries. Okay, actually, we've got an ice ball on top catches. Caster, ignore me. Eric tagged out and Jinjiao burst down. Saved by PP God under the whelm of the turret as Rookie gets flanked by Fairness. Look at this Mordekaiser who came out of left field. The Observer not even expecting it, but as he comes out, Shockwave brings in Caster as well. Mid laner going down, jungler as well from V5. And Eric is unleashed, getting the quickness of his own as PP God takes a Sonic Wave. And V5 running from Jay. LGD unhinged, uncharged. And now looking at a dragon on top of that.
Great flank coming up from the Mordekaiser with the TP. And the big thing is, right, you ult Rookie, you kill him in the 1v1. So much of the damage available to V5 instantly off the card. And their tanks just have to run away, getting shredded down. Eric really strong on this Jinx already, which is for that 1-item spike. When he does start getting those resets, when he does have lethal tempo stacked up, he should be able to get this tier 2 tower back away while also getting the dragon. So a pretty big win there for LGD.
Jinjiao surviving.
TP coming in.
Well, they want to clear it up. It's double TP. It's PP God and Rookie on the side. Dragon's already gone down. Shadow hasn't backed yet. He's on the run. That's 2 TPs for absolutely nothing.
Whoa. Rookie's going to get 3 minions. There we go. There we go.
And a
Gromp.
Okay, sorry. Absolutely worth it.
Maybe not quite, yeah. Just get them on the map marginally faster, but yeah, definitely we're hoping for a little bit more in that situation. LGD picking up that second dragon pretty big. Again, 2 Heralds down. I talked about this before. Maybe I was a bit overzealous with the package syncing. Now every dragon will have a package available for V5. But first, going to replay that fight, cleanse a lot of value, and then it's big that the Tom Kench ult is used here to disengage. Not available to help out, but Rookie instantly ulted. Nothing you can do in this 1v1 situation against the Mordekaiser. And with Rookie down, right, you have these big bulky members, but a lot of damage committed onto the finish off the Mordekaiser. And Jay and Eric are just untouched here. Moving forwards, laying down the damage. Jinx with the resets, fully stacked lethal tempo is an absolute menace. and able to pick up a fair few kills. Now, about 1,000 gold in the lead, not super significant, but we said this mid-game for V5 could be problematic if the Renekton was ahead, if these beefy tanks weren't able to be cut through, and feels like LGD are just smoothly sailing through it.
That's right, they're not ahead to V5, you know, not going to have that mid-game you talked about. For LGD, importantly enough, as Shadow actually caught out here pretty deep, but Safeguards over the wall. TP in the back play. This is Rich coming in with dominance available. The Croc right on top of Shadow. Gets kicked away as PP God forces the flash after the Thought. Caster getting stuck on traps as well as LGD want to re-engage. And I was just going to come in and say, Orcs, like, hey, we came in today talking about V5 solo laners and how well they're doing and how good V5's going. This game has been all about Fearness surviving the top 2 dive, Jay being consistent within the lane as well. And in these fights, the solo laners from LGD putting on a show for this first game.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like coming into this, the expectation was that V5 would be really far ahead in this matchup. And even if LGD lose in this position, I still feel like they've shown a fair bit, right? Fearness, I know it's kind of gifted to him that 1v2, but still doing solid there. Jay hold him up in lane. Shadow finding these opportunities. Definitely more positive than some of the series we've seen so far from them. But it is about continuing this momentum, right? Get to the point where your Jinx is on 3-4 items, and I can really see them moving through this game and winning it outright.
Yep.
The late game of the Orianna Jinx, very scary to go up against.
And it will come soon. There's a rapid fire cannon that's going to be completed after that Cole gets sent on the next base here for Eric. Eric, someone, if you're just tuning in, who has been hit or miss, previously OMG 80 carry. Eric has a great name, but his gameplay has often been questioned here in the LPL. Alongside with Jin Zhao as well, the funny thing is, both of them on this roster currently are 80 carries. Like, Jin Zhao's not even a registered support. Both of them are 80 carries. I think Eric is the sub-80 carry, and Jin Zhao is the starting registered AD. So, it's Chance, I believe, who's actually the registered support, who hasn't even got to play yet.
You know, I respect it. I respect it. It just shows, you know, 80 carries can do it better, right? But we've been doing okay this game so far. Obviously gets targeted a fair bit by Cast with the CC. I do want to talk a little bit about the amortization. We've seen Eric actually go for the Runans, so I don't get time to talk.
Oh, PP God will save him, but Shadow's position is absolute. As Folk to get away now, sacrificing his support, but remember, that's a tank Tahm Kench. He's got resources. A big pick for LGD. The momentum continues right down the mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, they already have those 2 towers in the mid lane, so able to loop round, get behind the bot lane at V5. PP God does die, but saves his 80 carry, and now trying to apply some pressure bot. They won't be able to get rich here, but they can still look to push the wave into this tower. But now, Shadow will just take an unnecessary amount of damage for no reason. But regardless, I want to talk a little bit about the itemization. Eric going for the Runans, and I think this item has a lot of value when you have a bunch of champions going to be grouped up together. And I think the fact that you have, you know, the Renekton, the Sejuani, and the Tahm Kench, who are all going to be stacked on that front line, it does have quite a bit of value dealing that AoE damage.
Okay, well, I like the little tidbit there because 2-item Eric at the very least has been achieved. Photic almost matching there, but remember, it's great play. The shockwave comes through from Jay, Rookie actually caught out. He flashes over the wall. Fearness matches, though, with the hammer down. Ooh. That dude, oh my God, Fearness. He's showing up in game 1.
Yeah, and so close. If he'd been able to get that R on the Sejuani, certainly Cast would have gone down. But a quick flash. The big thing, right? It is not a 50-50 when you're doing a Baron, because if Fearness ults Caster, he can't smite, right? So this becomes very, very difficult for V5 to contest at a 50-50 smite. They have to try and fight it because they're already a member down.
I mean, Fearness, that ulti's up and available. They use the ulti straight away here from Caster to lock him down. Arctic Assault is for the steal, and he's in the Death Realm. Fearness pulls the interaction, and LGD now with numbers advantage, and Fearness bullying away this boar in the Deathland is as easy as that. PP God on the chase. Rich can't do much against Shadow. And in game number 1, V5 favorites? Nah, man. It's LGD's time to shine.
Eric got the reset, gonna keep Fearness alive, and looks like package coming in. This could be big for Rookie. Okay. A little risky.
But chompers are down. And for Rookie, he can't get much closer to the team. They're backing away with Baron recall. All they're going to get out of that is the Dragon as a quick response.
Yeah, so, I mean, a huge win for LGD. They're able to use the Mordekaiser very effectively. Heads to play from them. Fearness knows, press R. There's nothing that Caster can do to find the smite, and then he just ends up 100-0 and him in the Death Realm. Yes, the Dragon's picked up from V5, but LGD don't really care. They have a 5,000 gold lead. Well, actually, with the Dragon being taken, the objective bounty will be about 4,500, but they have the Baron to play around with, and we will get that replay, so Just a heads up play here. Rookie and Casa a little bit overextended. Rookie gets caught out by that shockwave. No real way for him to escape. And then although we see Casa flashing before the ult comes down to Fairness, it's this situation, right? Fairness just walks up. The Baron's at 1.5k. Ult Casa.
Yep.
Nothing they can do.
Love the interaction here. It's been a while since we've seen the Mordekaiser. Remember, we said Orcs was at 508 days or something like that.
Quite a few.
522 was it? It's a deal. It's a big deal. 2020 was the last time we saw this Mordekaiser in action. So for LGD, their top laner, giving them a lot of weight to play with. 3.5 items here as a top lane Mordekaiser. Now joining up, he's level 16 Orcs. 3 levels over Rich in this game. Just showing you how pivotal Fairness has been to the coming victory, it looks like, for LGD.
Yeah, 3.5 items at this point. The Demonic Embrace, remember this was changed. It now just 2% HP burn a second on a melee champion. Yep. So he will absolutely shred this bulk on the side of E5. This Renekton, this Sejuani, this Tom Kench will all get absolutely massacred in the Death Realm. And now Eric, you know, he's closing up 3 items. They've kind of moved. Oh,
they call
nice
Shadow.
Block from Shadow.
Yeah, it is a good block. He has to flash away though. The shockwave only on BP God, but he can take it for now. And Shadow gets in and then out after the kick as V5 have to deal with Fairness on the right wing. That's Rich who's blocking the damage for now, but LGD have done enough. The blinking health bars from V5. Eric getting excited and V5 getting scared.
Yeah, and it was just really nice defense on that ultimate come up from the Sejuani. Finn is still looking for more here. Taking the tower up, but so bulky it doesn't matter.
Look at his shielding
coming in.
PP God starts it up, and now he's on choppers. He's brought back in with the grasp from Fairness. Ulti as well. He'll run right up to him and slam the mace down again. Goes gold. He's got enough shielding, enough healing as V5's base defense lands with Eric going down too. It's a 1-for-1 trade, so LGD have to back away. And I wanted to ask you moments before we saw this. It's a 5k gold lead. V5 are down in the dumps here, Orcs. But does your late game point still stand true?
I still feel like LGD's late game is pretty solid, but like the Corki is such a powerful tool. I think both teams have solid late game elements. It really comes down to execution on them. I think the gold lead to LGD gives them a lot of favor, but it really comes down to how Jay and Eric can position, right? If they're able to consistently get off damage, great. And it comes down to Corki rockets. We can see moments like this where Rookie is able to get some damage off. There's a rocket there, phosphorus bomb into another rocket. If you kill the likes of that Jinx, if you're able to land effective poke, it can completely warp how the fights play out. Okay, well, again, another Corki discussion sounds right in 12.2. As LGD's Baron buff, 3k Baron play, I should say, was achieved there. So a success. As Dragon's coming up, this is going to be the sole point number 3 here for either of these teams. And for V5, still, I mean, it looks so hard. How do they take this fight against an Orianna who's 2.5 items, against the Jinx, who now has LDR against this huge tank lineup, against Fairness, who can sit in a side lane or sit in a team fight and counts as 3 people? I think that's one of the consolation prizes in this situation, is the fact that V5 do have 2 dragons, so they could actually just give up the next one if they really wanted to. Yep. LGD will apply some pressure top, but there's so much wave clear on the side of V5 to be very difficult, really, to get this wave in and get any traction off the cast. It is potentially fishing. Remember, no cleanse on Eric. Okay. I think LGD sniff it out. I'm just going to give everyone a bit of a soul check. Everyone loves it. 111 on Photic at 27 minutes, so range times 5, almost 6. As Photic will start hitting from a mile away as well. But look down bot. Fairness is just hitting the turret. He's ignoring Rich. And that's how big he is. Yeah, I mean, he is so strong right now. Nearly 4 times. Oh, comes down. Nice flash. Jinjao there to avoid that. But it does mean that V5 actually routed away from the tower. Casa going a very dangerous route there. We'll take some damage for it. Gets Chompered, Shockwave in as well, but remember, that's still a tank on V5's end. They're trying to push down this inner turret, and as the minion wave's cleared out, doesn't even go down to half HP. It goes longer and longer and longer to try and siege that turret. But speaking of sieging, I mean, the minions are doing it for them in the base. Nexus turret number 1. It's going to hold on for now, but it is at a hair's breadth. Yeah, super close, and that's why they're using this pressure that the mini waves provide. And eventually V5 have to go and deal with it. They can't take on top. They get that tier 2, big influx of gold. Now they're going to reset and head to Dragon. They'll be a little late on it, but it's not really too much of a concern, just on the fact that V5 kind of trapped in base. Rookie does have the package now, and if you actually look, Dragon and Baron timers are synced up. So if V5 can utilize this package to find a window, It would allow them to potentially pick up the Baron, but unfortunately, Fairness is going to take this Dragon off the cards. And really, if you're LGD, just wait. Wait a minute. Packages are gone. What are V5 going to do then?
True. You know, they're forced to make the reckless play because for V5 in front of this Baron, they're kind of throwing everything at the wall and hoping it sticks. This ward gets cleared. Baron gets started, Orcs, but LGD, of course, they know they're running straight to it.
Yeah, V5 fishing for the fight.
That ulti down again is huge. Once again, like last time, LGD can capitalize off it. And Fairness, the level 17 Mord, decides to take Photic in the Death Chamber with him. Flashes away, but I don't even think that'll do too much. As he comes out, Photic might be low, but Fairness in the middle, does it matter? Shockwave says no! Helped out by Jay, the solo laners of LGD versus Rookie versus Rich. It's R&R time for V5, but not in the good kind.
And LGD, against all odds, managed to claim this game 1 against V5. I feel like Sejuani definitely not working out for V5, but Fairness on this Mordekaiser, super solid, and it felt like they were given a lead, and they really managed to run away with it. V5, 5 kills only on the board, and they will lose their Nexus.
Oh boy. We've started the series exactly opposite to how I thought. As a bit of a smacking from LGD, a clean game from a team that's sitting 1-6. LGD are not your upstart team. They're not this, oh, we're going to make a deep run. LGD being 1-6 is like, oh, well, if they don't win every series, then it's hard to see how they can, win a playoff, get to playoffs, at least in a 10th place position, or at least get close to it. So, folks, at this point for LGD, a very good news story. For V5 Orcs, a little bit uncharacteristic of the team that has been doing well in their laning phase, where that dive set them up for so much failure in the rest of the game.
Yeah, it was pretty messy, and honestly, when you think back to the draft, I don't really understand it, because you think about all the picks that the Renekton sets up, right? Things like the Dyna, things like the Lily, those things that have a lot of burst damage that you can dive with effectively. Carster didn't have the burst, the dive didn't really work, and even then they go for the Corki mid. I could understand the Sejuani more if they had 2 melee solo laners and they were just going to play very dive heavy, but the Corki just didn't fit in with the composition. I mean, the Sejuani and the Corki were kind of like on opposite ends, and it just felt like it was that plus some mistakes, and they just didn't really have room to get back into it. So LGD, you can see, right, V5 did have a bit of a goal lead in the mid game, but then as soon as LGD got some momentum, Eric on this Jinx doing a ton of damage, Fairness on the Mordecai is an absolute brick wall for V5 to deal with. And yeah, I think maybe this draft was a little bit experimental, a little bit disrespectful. I think V5 should go back to the basics for this next one.
Yeah, again, maybe trying something new, but I think importantly enough, their identity as a team, doesn't really look like this. So I think for V5 in game number 1, a lot of people will say, oh, they'll just shake it off, it's fine. But genuinely impressed with LGD. So a game 1 to start off what could be a very fun series. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to a break. When we return,